We walk into Midtown Comics, and you know in the back there's the stairs that go upstairs, and there's a giant glass window that goes right out to, I think it's 8th Avenue. Someone ran down the stairs and jumped through the glass and landed on the street. So when Matteo and I got upstairs, the window was gone. We looked down, there's glass all over the street. I think the ambulance had just pulled away, so there's still people all around it. And we were like, what the fuck just happened?
This is the Inkpulp podcast.
Welcome to the Inkpulp podcast with the three homies.
That's a new opening jingle. What about rock and roll, hoochie coo, rock and roll, hoochie. Do you remember in the 80s? I was thinking about this last night. Do you remember in the 80s and 90s? Matteo, I'm going to teach you about American trash culture. In the 80s and 90s on late night cable, they would have those infomercials for like rock and roll CDs and CD clubs that you could join where it would be like, rock and roll, hoochie coo, rock and roll. She's got legs by ZZ Top. Bad to the Bone, George Thorogood. Listen up, assholes. Order now 12 CDs for 1 penny. Join Columbia Trash CD Club. And then what was the scam? They would scam kids.
I remember this well because I worked it to the bone. I got so many CDs.
A dozen CDs for a penny, but then how would they charge you?
You were required to buy one album a month over a year.
Okay. Right.
And it wasn't like super expensive, but you were required to do it. But there were loopholes around it. Like in college, we would make up a name and use our address and just have CDs sent to us under a fake name, and it worked.
It was
but
a
also, you know what I
short-lived
noticed?
thing.
I noticed those CDs were like, they weren't the same CDs you'd buy in the store. The music was the same, but there was subtle shifts in the casing. And actually, I remember I got Bizarre Ride to the Far Side that way. And then I bought it later because I lost the CD. And one of the tracks had a different rhythm to it.
Oh, interesting.
I was like, whoa, what is this?
Okay.
It's like a little faster. And so I think they were like, they were just like recorded from the demos for the album and put out. There was something going on there. Something was a little different. But yeah, that was dude. Speaking of this, Steph watches these reels of this guy who's like our age. And he says, you know, you're old when he goes, and one of the things he said is, I'm still in debt with Columbia House.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you have anything like that, Matteo?
What's Columbia House?
Columbia House was like it's what we're talking about. It was like a record. Well,
Columbia the thing that you were talking about.
Yeah. So like you'd get like a pamphlet. And it would be like, pick 12 albums for 1 penny, and you check off your little albums.
No, back then in the 90s, we had this thing called Negative magazine. Mm-hmm. It was for metalheads and hardcore listeners. And basically they had a list of all the CDs, the metal, the stuff that you couldn't find in shops because, back then in Italy, nobody had that music, basically. You only had a couple of shops that would sell that kind of genre. And they would have only like 5 bands. They wouldn't have the whole spectrum. So the Negative magazine would have all the CDs with all the weirder stuff that nobody listened to. Mm-hmm. And also sweaters and T-shirts. So that's where I got all my hardcore, T-shirts and stuff from that.
Is that where you got your Mastodon hoodie that you've had for 35 years?
No, that one I got it at a concert. At a concert. No,
dude, did you hear I think they broke up, or one of the members left of Mastodon?
Oh, really?
Like last week. Shit. Yeah.
I didn't know.
But yeah, Jim, you know what Matteo said? What that reminds me of? Do you remember the back of Thrasher magazine? They would have the like ads for like the indie like punk and metal record labels, like Suicidal Tendencies was back there.
Definitely.
And you could like I remember ordering Cannibal Corpse on vinyl back then.
Wow.
through that little stuff.
Yeah, man, physical media. Like you would just order stuff. Like when I was a kid, I had a subscription to Comic Buyer's Guide. It was weekly, CBG.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And it was a weekly, literally printed on newsprint. The ink would come off on your fingers.
This. Yeah.
But I was such a comic nerd. I wanted like a weekly dose, and it would come in the mail. My mom would like throw it on my bed when it would show up in the mail or whatever. And I'd be like, Comic Buyer's Guide, you know, and it was just like, it was just, they would stack up. It would be this thing of like, now I have this pile of newsprint in my small little bedroom. It's like, do you throw them out? Occasionally I would cut out some of the art that I liked, some of the ads, but there was no, you know, it was pre-internet. That's how you got your news, your comic news.
Yeah. Well, do you remember ordering things? You just like mailed a check away and hoped. And you had no like real recourse if you never got it. You're like, I don't have any evidence other than, you know, I wrote a check. I guess I could find that, but you just mailed money away and hoped it came.
Yes. Yeah.
That was bizarre.
And in my original, in my old original self-published zines and comics, man, I would just put my address in the back and be like, hey, mail me your books if you want, or if you want to order more of my book, send $2 in the mail. And it was just my address where Huddleston and I lived, where we had an apartment. Like no psychos are going to show up, I'm assuming. Like we weren't, you know.
It wasn't an address to the 40-ounce comics warehouse.
Yeah. The illusion of us being an actual studio or business.
But there's something to that. Just presenting it a certain way and people buy it a certain way.
Yeah. Something charming
but Jim,
about that.
you're still check on books at comic book shops, right? You still have that habit, not, you know, weekly like you used to, but
yeah, I like to go like once every 2 weeks to just see the books, and like I know some of the shop owners out here. I enjoy chatting with them. It's also, I mean, that's how I get retailer perspective on things, and
it's really
find
smart.
out directly like, okay, what's actually happening with all this like diamond stuff, and what's happening with this. And it's cool to get like the retailer's perspective, because they're the customers of comics, not really the customers. The shop is the one that's buying your book. So, I mean, Madi touched on this in your guys' talk, where it's like, the shop is the customer, really. So you want the shop to like you and give you a chance and give you a little shelf space if they can. And then you just see where it goes from there, and you craft these relationships with shops. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I like, it's funny you said that. When I was at your place and we went to the shop and we were talking to the owner of Elite,
William.
I was learning. I was like, oh, this is a really smart thing to be doing. Like hearing their perspective, hearing how things are going. I just wish I had a shop that was close to me that I could do that in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The good thing too, like talking to William, is it's like, you hear things about like doom and gloom and all this terrible shit. And then you talk to an actual retailer and he's like, yeah, things are kind of weird right now. We'll get through it. It's fine. I've been in this for 20 years. Like the industry has ups and downs, distribution changes. We modify and adapt to things as they come along, but he's not screaming and crying and being like, this is the end of my business, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So
I think that attitude goes a long way to someone who owns a business, whether it's art or a shop or whatever. That's how you survive. You have that attitude. You're like, I'm going to figure out a way through this instead of giving in to the things that are pulling me down.
Well, especially because there's stuff that still sells. I mean, the problem is that the attention shifted a lot towards manga, I think, for the younger audience. So that might be a problem for us specifically, but not for in generally generally speaking, for probably a comic book shop, they're still, they're still selling stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But it would be cool. I was thinking, as Jim was talking, I was thinking it'd be cool to have maybe a retailer on the show and talk about it.
I think it'd be a really good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know who. Maybe Shelton would be good to have on. I don't know.
Yeah. Shit, he's seen it all. He's been in the business for like
Shelton
35 years.
Shelton
or longer.
might be a good way to go. He owns heroes aren't hard to find.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I keep mentioning sometimes the episode with Millar with all the retailers. Mm-hmm. It's basically Millar talking to 3 or 4 retailers.
Yeah,
and they have this nice conversation about where comics are going and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's really interesting, So I think we should do that too.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's talk off air about who we'd want to do that with.
Yeah.
Or maybe the people could suggest someone. Maybe the people who listen to the podcast, they know, a comic book retailer that has a really clear opinion and is well informed. So
yeah, I would be really curious to talk to whoever runs Midtown Comics. I don't even know who that it is, but
oh damn!
I mean that's a crazy business they have.
It's John Midtown.
Oh,
Johnny Midtown, right?
Oh, I thought it was called Midtown Comics because it was in Midtown Manhattan. I didn't know it was his name.
No. It's actually the full last name is Midtown Comics, so it's Johnny Midtown Comics.
Johnny
Matteo,
Midtown Comics.
Do you remember when you and I went there when a guy had just run down the stairs?
Oh my God! Yes,
Jim. Did we ever tell you this story? We walk into Midtown Comics, and in the back there's the stairs that go upstairs.
Yeah,
and there's a giant glass window that goes right out to, I think it's 8th Avenue. Someone had tried to steal a toy, ran down the stairs, and jumped through the glass and landed on the street. So when Matteo and I got upstairs, the window was gone. We looked down. Yeah. There's glass all over the street. I think the ambulance had just pulled away, so there's still people all around it. And we were like, what the fuck just happened here?
Holy shit. Wait, how high up is that? That's just 2 stories up?
Yeah, it's 2 stories. Yeah, the dude was fucked up. I mean,
right.
Like an
but it was
ambulance
so
had to come
weird
and
because
get him.
they got him and he was fucked. And instead of being like, they told him, listen, we know you have the stuff in your backpack. Just, they were not, belligerent. They were just, but we caught you. Whether you stay here or you go downstairs, there's people waiting for you downstairs. So you better just, give us the stuff.
Yeah, dude, you're caught. Like, what toy is worth?
He just ran through the window, man.
And dude, there
was no glass. And I remember they put the, how do you call it? The police
yellow tape.
Yeah, the
police tape. Yeah.
But he was running so fast and jumped through with such force, he went through that fucking window.
That's incredible.
That's not a thin window.
No.
Imagine if he just bounced off of it and fell back.
Yeah, that makes me wonder, like, shouldn't those windows be how do you call them in English? They should be that because
unbreakable
in case
glass.
somebody falls,
shatterproof. Yeah.
The guy just jumped and the window broke. So it's that.
It turns out this guy was like a hentai pervert, and it was like a new anime toy, like a girl with big boobs, and he was like, I gotta get this home right away. It wasn't a McFarlane toy or like Batman. It was like that's why he didn't want to get caught. That's why he didn't want to get caught, you guys. He had like a pervert thing in his backpack. And he's like, I'd rather just risk my life than get caught.
I'm surprised we never told you this story.
That's incredible.
Speaking of hentai, have you guys heard what's going on with Bastien Vives?
No.
I should have told you before the show so we could talk about it. Now you don't know what I'm talking about, so
no, tell us.
Sense. But we can talk about it, in a later episode. if you want. So basically, there's this guy is a French artist. I mean, he's a writer and artist, a complete author called Bastien Vives. He's super famous in France. He won, countless prizes. He's been famous since he was a kid. He's really young. He started doing comics at like 15 or 16. Yeah, and he's a brilliant mind. And he has a big production. Like, he keeps doing stuff. And lately, like over the past few years, he's moved into hentai, that kind of genre with a lot of sex. Yeah, before, he always explored sex, but from a teenager point of view. Like, there was a lot of curiosity for perversions and stuff like that, but he never got over a certain limit. And the last works he did, they were more explicitly like porn. And one of the last ones was even like, it was like sex with minors. Sex with kids.
Oh no!
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah, and it was weird because it's drawn and the whole vibe about it was really like the Love Clinic. Is that the correct name for it? The manga one with the doctor with the huge penis with his face on.
I don't know that one. Jesus, Matteo, what are you reading?
Oh no! This was the Love Clinic. The Love Clinic is one of the most famous hentai ever. Super like it's a comedy with a lot of sex in it. Okay, so that's the vibe. Like there's there's sex and there's a kid involved, but it's all like it's all like funny and stuff. So it's really, really, really weird. And there's incests, all this kind of stuff. Oh my God. But it's seen from a really weird perspective. Anyways, I didn't read the stuff, so I cannot describe it, but I saw images and it's really, it's really funny looking, if that makes sense.
So he's in trouble for this, I'm assuming. Like, that's what's happening.
He's being like the book was out like 2 years ago or something, and now he's on trial. Him and the publisher, and they're risking like going to jail. They already had to go through a program, like an re-educational program and stuff, and it's fucked up because people are, there's some people that they're saying that you should be put in jail and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa. And also, I'm like, okay, so if we consider that, I was thinking this the other day, if we consider that to be officially like pedopornographic material, so normally for that kind of material, even the people that look at it should go to jail. So should the people who bought the book and read the book
I would
go
argue
to jail?
I would argue the people buying it should be in jail, in prison before the creator did. If he's just selling it, he's making a product. He's just making a product for the crazies. That's all.
Matteo, how old is he? How old is the creator? He's been around for a while.
Probably my age or something. Maybe even younger than me.
Oh, okay. So he's not an old established.
He's super established because he started doing it when he was 16. So he's been doing it for 25 years. He's won prizes. Like, he's one of the most famous authors.
Shit, now I need to like look up his stuff. Like, I need to.
Oh, some of the stuff that he did is beautiful. He even did like a Corto Maltese 2 or 3 years ago. Like, he's amazing. Like, he's a great, writer and artist. There's some books that he did that are fantastic.
Okay. And how do you spell, what's his name?
Bastien Vives. So it's Bastien Vives. Fuck, spelling for an Italian is so fucking hard. Bastien. With the I, the E, and the A, because it's so the other way around.
Okay.
Next
with
time.
a V. Bastien Vives.
Yes. So.
Oh yeah, his art.
Yeah, he's in trouble now.
His art's dope.
Oh, he's fucking amazing, man.
Oh, Brandon Graham must be a fan of this guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, not only
no, I mean that
for
a
the
complimentary way.
stories,
It's
even
very,
the
it's
style,
very
like,
beautiful.
yeah.
It was just funny the way you said that. I love B and I love Brandon's work, but it's just funny the way you said that.
So yeah, maybe next time if you're trying to find some, some articles about this, we can talk about it. It's a very, very weird.
It's a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's
Today's
very
topic
controversial.
on Inkpulp: sex in comics. Has it gone too far? On the next Maury Povich show. What are your children reading? Funny books. You thought it was funny until the tentacles came out. What are your children reading? That is an interesting thing, though, of like, because I like, violence, nudity, sex in my work. And I don't know if like younger people, they keep saying like younger generations are less interested in like nudity and sex than us, like Gen X and like 90s.
We were a horny generation.
Yeah, that's probably it, right? It was just.
Well, I think I think kids are messed up from the phones and the internet. I think that's a big part of it.
They've just seen it all, right? By the time they're 10, they've seen.
Or they just are so like, their minds are just like they're mature. The fact is, children are maturing at a slower rate nowadays because of the phones. Like that's like, there's been studies done on this. I've talked to therapists and psychologists about this. It's a thing. So if that's the case, then their interest in sex is delayed as well. Would be my guess.
Right.
Well, also it could be that, when you have all the sex you want here.
Yeah, that's what Jim's
in
saying.
a second, why would you buy a comic book about that stuff,
I don't know.
Right.
I still love like a Bruce Timm drawing of a naked woman so much.
Yeah.
Like there's something about the art that I like about it. Not like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the real thing very much, but there is something nice about like art and erotica. It's different. It's like, I don't jerk off to it, but I appreciate
anymore.
it. No, anymore. I stopped
you
doing
stopped
that
a couple of years ago. Yeah.
After the class, I had to stop.
Shawn, we know in the 80s you had that Joe Jusko painted She-Hulk poster in your bedroom. Of her in like the bikini,
dude,
like lifting
I
weights.
remember.
You're
I had
like
Heavy
every
Metal
night you're
magazine.
like,
I had as
She-Hulk.
Perry in Heavy Metal magazine. I was good.
That was like your first. That was like our generation's first porn. Was basically heavy metal, or if you found Playboys at your friend's house in the basement or whatever, like the dad's stash of like 70s. It was always 70s Playboys. It was always big bush.
And then,
wow.
And then if you were lucky and were able to get a few copies, you kept them wrapped in a trash bag in the woods, so no one would find them.
Your woods porn, you got to have it.
Yeah, gotta have it.
So weird.
Such a different time.
Yeah. Man, concerned about the state of the art form, the state of the craft.
Jim, what's up, brother? Look, don't worry. I've hired Dr. Pulpenstein, and he's going to fix everything.
Dr. Pulpenstein?
Ah! Hello there, Jim. I am hard at work at the antidote of what ails our craft. I've given Shawn the first dose.
First dose? Can you explain?
That's right, Jim. I got the first dose. I'm giving away my brand new sketchbook for free.
Free? Are you crazy?
Si, senor. It is correct. The first dose is Shawn's free sketchbook.
We're doing like a Spanish thing now, I guess.
That's right. My new sketchbook, Inkpulp Magenta, is totally free. All you got to do is head over to my Kickstarter pre-launch page, which is for my new art book, Inkpulp Cyan. Enter your email, pledge at any tier level on the Inkpulp Cyan campaign, and you will get Inkpulp Magenta, the sketchbook, free PDF emailed to you.
Man, that is great, Shawn.
See ya, Jim. Shawn's newest sketchbook is totally free.
Okay, this is Italian now? Is that what's happening?
But actually, we were talking about something that I think would be good to talk about on the show before we hit record. We're talking about commissions right now in the convention scene and stuff. And this year I've noticed that I'm not having trouble selling. I'm having trouble selling big ticket items. So I've actually started offering smaller commissions and smaller pieces of art. And like Matteo was saying before he backed out of C2E2, he was having some trouble lining up commissions, which Matteo, that hasn't happened in how long? I mean, you seem to always be full.
Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah. I still got some, but I was expecting to fill up the list. Right. I had a limit at 7 and I couldn't get there. And I still have some people that, since they didn't take me off the site, they're seeing that I'll be at Chicago, which I'm not. And they're writing to me to know about
what's fucked up?
This
is so shady of Reed. The minute I asked,
do you think they keep the name on it?
I'm going to tell you. Listen to this story. I asked, when you told me you weren't going, I was at PlanetCon. So I just asked Jason, hey, if I didn't go, big capital IF, if I don't go to Chicago, would they refund my table money? And Jason was like, I'll check. The next day, I look on the site and I was listed as canceled. But you weren't.
That's crazy.
And then I texted Mo and Jason. I was like, what the hell happened? I haven't decided yet. In fact, I want to still go. My table's gone. I need a table. And they put me on the canceled list because I was now opening up my commissions. And so they fixed it and they put me back. But I noticed they never took you down.
Huh. That's weird. Because at first, when you're starting telling the story, I was like, this is one of those times that happens sometimes where people get confused between you and I. So they were, especially now that we have the podcast, they immediately connected the two faces and they're like, okay, this is the guy. But then, maybe they didn't actually cancel.
But you're still on there. Yeah, you're still on there. So, that's.
Yeah. Another person asked me a couple of days ago about my presence at the show. So, yeah, I suppose I'm still there.
Yeah, so I'll see you there next week.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is for everyone out there this year, and maybe because the economy is so uncertain right now, think about having lower price point items, and I think you'll be okay. Because I feel like I never fill up, and I filled up in a day and then opened up a couple more slots, and now those filled, and that hasn't happened to me in so long. So I think there's something to that.
Yeah, well, in my case, we've already talked about it, but I have various price ranges for things. So generally speaking, I'm not doing that for commissions, so I only have expensive ones. But if you still want a piece of mine, you can get the layouts and stuff, and that was the
right. And those have been selling well for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, your cover prelims sell great.
Oh yeah. I remember when we did the holiday sale around between Black Friday and Christmas and whatever. I sold more than 50 pieces.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible,
I mean,
man.
I would say 10% of them were like covers and pages. Maybe 20% of them were covers and pages. And the rest was, just those sketches and layouts.
That's fantastic.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
So it's good to offer a range of things for people.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
But, also, this is something else I wanted to bring up for Jim. Jim, you launched your pre-launch page for the Arachnid Enforcer is up and doing really well. Like we're kind of like at the same numbers almost. And like you had a good point that you put the QR code for that book in the Savage Street Vigilante. So everyone who got that book was immediately able to go sign up for the next one, which is really smart. And I think we should all be doing that. But I also wonder if I'm going to have a little more trouble with my Kickstarter because it's not a story. Like, I wonder if people are just much more interested in stories than like an art book.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either. But it's something I've been thinking about. I'm like, it makes sense.
Well, it's two different audiences, because if you don't have a story, like people that don't really care that much about art, they want like basically the support you'll get support from other artists that are learning, so they want to, and they like your stuff, or people that like you, so they want to support you. Right. But readers, they they're not interested in that kind of product.
That's my point. Readers are a bigger audience, I think. That's
I don't know.
But Shawn, your art book, since it's instructional and process based, to me, there is a story to the book. Like there is.
That's a good.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's not just you're not just making an art book of imagery. There's process and there's a narrative to it.
I guess it makes sense, but still there'll be a big portion of the audience that won't be interested because they want to, the traditional story with with characters and dialogues and stuff. So, we'll see what.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious. It's just interesting.
That's interesting because, like, I definitely want to do a big coffee table art book through crowdfunding at some point next year, maybe the year after. So that'll be interesting to see what will the difference be between that with as opposed to my next Effective Comics, where it's a 48-page one-shot comic, because people are getting the art with my new comic, but they're also getting my new comic, a story, and so I'm only able to do a limited amount of comics per year, and the people that will buy all my work, whether it's Girl Scouts or Street Vigilante or whatever, it's like, well, here's the next hit of my comic. Here's the next dose of that. Right. But yeah, an art book is sort of a separate thing from that. But for me, man, I think the audience I've crafted, they're pretty much on board to pick up whatever my next release is.
Yeah. So then my next question from you is, so with that being said, does the Ballpoint Slayer sales, are they equivalent to Savage Street Vigilante sales?
No, because that is just available on my website and at conventions.
So you think the marketing element of Kickstarter really helps drive the sales for the book?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also Ballpoint Slayer, the thing I like about it is it's more like a side project for like the hardcore heads. It's like, this is
right. No. That's what I'm saying.
I only do a print run of like 500 of those at a time to be conservative with it. And it's like, I'll reorder them when I need to. But that one,
or don't reorder them. And when you've got like 3 or 4 done, do a deluxe edition. So people who missed the first 2 or 3 can't get it, but they can get the deluxe edition.
And that would be a Kickstarter, like
That's
the first 3 volumes.
We're just talking about the pre-launch for the second chapter of the Effective Comics. Mm-hmm. So, what are the strategies in terms of communication marketing that you're using to get more people on that page?
Yeah, I mean, since the campaign is in a long ways away, October, even though that's not that far away, I've just sort of casually launched it. So the Street Vigilante books are being fulfilled. We're almost done with that. Everyone's got it in the mail. So those fans are now signing up for Arachnid Enforcer. So it's kind of like I'm letting it slowly build. And then as of last Inkpulp Live, we officially announced it on our stream. And I asked Shawn this because I was like, hey, I don't want the pre-launch page of my Arachnid Enforcer to compete with the pre-launch page of your Inkpulp art book. So you let me know if you want me to step back a bit, because we should focus on your releases first. So, I'm not full-fledged like going for it on announcing the pre-launch, but you don't seem that upset if I hype it. But
no, I want you to hype it. I don't see us as competing. Like I see us as helping each other. It's two different, but it's also like, let's say we're the Wu-Tang Clan, right? And we just like our show is 36 chambers.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So
sure.
I'm putting out Liquid Swords, and you're putting out, Iron Man by Ghostface. They're not competing for each other.
Supreme
it's the same. It's an audience just showing love for the crew, and we're a crew.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're not aggressively like we're not launching even close to each other the campaign. So the pre-launch page, it's not like you're fighting for sales, because there's no sales. It's just hit a button. That's all you got to do. Just tap a button. And so I think all three of us could have a pre-launch page up at the same time and be like, go hit all three buttons, and it would be fine.
It works out well too, man, because your Kickstarter campaign for the art book will be over at the end of May, correct?
Right.
So honestly, my plan was to really start hyping my pre-launch in the summer anyway, because I want to start showing. I haven't started drawing pages for the book yet. So the art that's up on it right now is sort of a temporary placeholder art. And what I really want to do is start making pages and be like, okay, guys, here's really what we're getting into for the next book. That's what I think I did right with the pre-launch of Savage Street Vigilante. Is
definitely.
I already had like 8 or 9 pages done to show people this is the book. Like, this is the level we're going for here. So check it out. This is exciting.
Right.
And with this one, I don't feel like I'm quite at the level yet of showing the world, showing the imagery. So the summer is kind of my focus of being like, okay, now we're building up to making this baby happen.
Right. And let me throw this out there for you guys. Since I'm most likely going to be handling my own fulfillment, if you guys want to either order like cards with the QR code for your next campaign, or have me order it and just pay me for it, I can put those in the packages I'm shipping out too.
Yeah.
So that again keeps the team thing going. It's a no-brainer. Like, we should be doing that.
Yeah, I'll take you up on that offer. Dude, definitely. All of that shit helps. Like any free promo. I was giving out those postcards at New York for Savage Street Vigilante with the QR code, yelling in everyone's face about the campaign in person at New York, as you know. And man, my numbers went up that weekend at New York. Like, it does work. Yeah. I mean, even if you don't get everyone, if you can get 70% of the people to click to the pre-launch and just hit notify me.
And that's why I decided to keep going to C2E2, because at Planet, I had that digital frame with a QR code to my pre-launch page, and I could talk to people about it, just scan it and hit notify me. And the numbers went up. And since that, they've been going up a lot more consistently than before that, just because I think people are spreading the news and awareness is growing. So I think it's anything we can do to get people's eyes on the pre-launch page is gold.
Yeah. The reason why I asked Jim is because, and Shawn knows this because we talked about this a few days ago. I was thinking about a cool way to promote the Kickstarter campaign for my book. And one of the idea that I had was just to print like issue number 0 on my book, like literally a floppy, a 20 pages floppy, especially because like basically the first chapter is like almost 40 pages. At page 20, there's a nice point where the story could end there.
Right.
So I was just thinking about, printing a floppy like a normal standard book, which is a number 0, and give it away for free at New York with a QR code printed on the back.
Yeah.
So, the way I'm wired, my brain works. I don't care. Like, I'm not making the math with investments on a thing. If I think it's cool, I'll just do it,
Right. Sure.
And if it wasn't a good idea, well, I'll lose money on it. But I'm not, grabbing a piece of paper and doing the math.
Right,
2 + 2 equals.
Yeah.
Well,
whatever.
Yeah.
Following your gut has gotten you very far in life, so I would definitely keep doing it.
Yeah.
If we print that book if we tag it onto my order like we talked about, then I could just put some of those issues in all the packages I'm mailing out. And people could
that
get
was
it that way too.
that was the idea as well, to have them inside of your thing as well.
Yeah.
And or like yesterday, I was like, especially because of the tariffs and all the problems that we're talking about recently. Especially now that it went from 20 to 30 to 54%.
54%.
And I think to be honest with you, that comics are not safe from that.
No.
I think that comics are gonna fall under that category.
I'm waiting to hear back from Min. She'll know. She'll tell me.
From what I've seen, it's the only books that are not affected are religious books.
Gee, what a coincidence, because Trump prints his Bibles in China.
We all start doing religious comics, like
but maybe that's what she's saying, is if I code it that way on the code, then you're fine.
Dude, Inkpulp, the religion. Inkpulp is a religion now.
We all stand at the altar of Dr. Puppenstein.
There you go.
We're a cult now.
I mean, my book is titled The Fourth Father, so it might sound like a religious book.
There you go.
So again, going back to what I was saying.
I love your idea, Matteo. I love your idea.
Yeah.
Like and people love free anything. If you're giving out a free 20-page floppy, like every person in New York is going to flock to your table to grab that for sure.
Definitely.
That's great. That's perfect.
And but again, since we have these problems with, printing stuff in China and the tariffs and all that stuff, I was thinking of maybe if the cost is too high and it doesn't make sense anymore, maybe I was thinking about a cheaper, alternative, which is, if you subscribe to the launch campaign, you'll have a PDF of each number.
That's what I did. So if you subscribe to the launch page of my Inkpulp book, you get my sketchbook PDF for free.
Mm-hmm. Well, in my case, you get the first 20 pages of the book. Right, so you can already, as you're waiting for the campaign to start, you're already seeing, 20 pages. What? You can have an idea.
Even if you print it, you should do both, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Why not? It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I think.
Well, I mean, the people that got the physical copy already got their present, their gift, and they're like, you know what? Let's subscribe. The people that didn't get it, because nobody, not everyone is going to be able to get it. Only people that see me at show. Maybe I'll make sure that when I'm not there at shows, I'll make sure that Jason gives them away and stuff like that. But, there's going to be a lot of people that are not going to be able to have it. In that case, they will have it for free.
Yes.
Once they subscribe to the launch page. So that's the thing that for sure I'm going to do. It all depends. Like this fucking this fucking tariffs thing is,
dude, the
very-
uncertainty. Yeah, the uncertainty of everything is the real problem. It's a real problem.
I think the thing right now is like, don't freak out until
Right.
we know what's going
Until
on.
we understand. And if there's anything
just so
I've learned
weird.
in life, it's that when a problem is put in front of you, it just means you need to creatively solve a way around it. That's all. So instead of like we started off the show talking about this with the retailers, instead of like going down the negative hole, back up and be like, okay, what am I going to do to get around this? And that's all you got to do. So I'm just exploring that now. Hopefully I don't have to, the tariffs won't apply to the book and I'll be good. But if they do, I'll figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good
in
attitude.
in my position, I got a better solution because I didn't start my launch page yet. So I could wait for 4 years. And then when Trump is not president anymore, they'll dismantle everything that is done.
Right.
And then, woo-wee.
Yeah.
Or this, you never know with Trump. This could all go away next week where he's like, China could say something. He's like, okay, we're friends. I'm going to take it off. Like that's the uncertainty and the chaos of it all is the hard thing to navigate around.
Yeah. It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit.
Anyways, Jim, I wanted to share this thing that I shared with Shawn yesterday. I had this idea for my book, basically, and this, as I said to Shawn, like this will raise probably the price of the book. Like
this is pretty awesome. This is pretty awesome.
But so I was thinking,
this is you said this is for an artist edition, right?
Yeah. Well, but basically, the plan is for the Kickstarter campaign is only to have exclusive stuff, basically.
Okay. That's a good idea.
So, and then later for standard publication, like I don't know, with Image or something, have it in color. The standard publication. So probably the idea for the Kickstarter was to have maybe the floppies, but just black and white, and then maybe a TPB or just straight up the artist edition. So if you want the story, you buy the floppies, or you have the alternative, but you gotta buy the big artist edition. So the idea was to have the pages as much as like the original as possible. So print them on like vellum paper, more or less, with the same texture that my paper that I use has. And not only that, I was thinking, but then I'm going to cover it with dialogues. So what if instead of printing the balloons on the page, we have for each page, we have an acetate.
Oh,
is that
sure.
right?
Yeah, that's the right word.
Like an acetate overlay.
sheet with the balloons, so you can turn it and you can see the full page without.
I love it.
Without the
that
balloons.
would be insane. That'd be incredible.
Amazing. That'd be amazing.
And that's just for an exclusive artist edition option on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be
like I want the book to be super classy, with the silver or bronze writing in a box, maybe.
Bougie.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Getting chubbed over
in a
here.
case. No, how do you call it? The case?
A slipcase. Yeah.
The sleep case. Yeah.
It's a great idea. It's a great.
I
really like.
I love that class. That's classy shit.
I feel like I
Great
have
idea.
a book like that. Maybe not. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Is it Hewlett, Jamie Hewlett's art book he did through Taschen in the back? He has like those
maybe
clear
that's it.
overlays of sketchbook
Yes.
material. There's different paper types in the art book throughout. It's like, holy shit, man. But that's Taschen. It's like, well, they went all out to print this book,
Yeah,
totally.
I love all that stuff. It's just, what is all that cost now with all this bullshit going on in the world?
That's
with
what we were talking
printing
about.
and paper and supplies and.
Well, I mean, the printing probably, if you still print it in China, the printing is not going to be incredible. Probably less than I think,
Right. I think so too.
But
you think,
But yeah, it's the shipping costs and everything.
Do you guys know where does Scott Dunbier and all those guys where do they get their artist editions printed? Those are all done overseas, I assume.
My guess, and this is just a guess, would be they do it in Canada. Because the history of Wildstorm publishing through Quebecor, they probably Scott probably has connections there. That's a wild guess.
But printing in Canada is not cheaper.
It can be. So Ramon did a test. We got quotes from Min for my book and Canada. The thing about Canada that works out in my favor is the American dollar there is so strong, it makes the cost come way down. And in the end, they were about equal.
Okay.
So the Canada was a higher price point per unit, but because the US dollar was stronger there, it still bought it down. So it's either or. But then what happened was they were threatening a 25% tariff on Canada, which would have made it more expensive than China, because with China we were including the tariffs. It's just a lot of moving pieces right now. That's the hard thing to navigate.
Yeah. Shit, dude, I'm gonna go back to just making zines at Kinko's at this point.
I mean, it might not be a bad idea. But the other thing is, we've talked about Mix'em, who Jim uses, and someone tagged us, Mix'em in our post, and then Mix'em, and then someone said, you guys should team up, and Mix'em said, interesting. And I said, let's talk. So I'm waiting to get that going. Maybe there's something we can do with Mix'em.
Yes.
That would be good.
The first Inkpulp sponsor.
Oh, speaking of which, we have some options. I've been meaning to ask you guys. So Dick Blick got back to me months later. They finally got back to me. One of the things we can do is an affiliate program where we have a link that's specific to this show, or to all of our show, to all of our stuff. It's our link.
Are we gonna keep this in the show?
Yeah, because I want to
make it public.
Audience. Yeah, well, this is just these are options. We haven't decided on anything, but so what we can do is we can have an Inkpulp link for Dick Blick, and we can post it on everything, and we'll get a 10% kickback on sales that way. So that's one way we could have a sponsor. The other way is Mix'em. We'll see what they have to offer. And I think I got an email yesterday about something else I want to talk to you guys about, but I have to look and see. So yeah, there seems to be some opportunities coming up.
Yeah, there was that other sponsor that sells flashlights and stuff. Yeah, I think so, right?
Oh, right.
Dude, yeah. I wish.
But they want us to try them live during the shows. So
right.
I mean, exciting, but I don't know if it's appropriate for the show.
Yeah,
it's a whole other show.
I do think all those shows that have Fleshlight as a sponsor make a lot of money from Fleshlight. So I wouldn't
probably, yeah. But yeah, that's interesting. You know, we actually we sent an email to Blick to see if they were interested in a partnership. And
that was there was another thing they gave us too. I need to forward the email to you guys so we can talk and see what we want to do.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
they should be down with the Inkpulp family, man. They should be representing
it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
It's exciting.
Years ago, when I lived in LA, there was an event we went to that Fleshlight was giving out free fleshlights. And
shit.
Me and the homies, we all were like, as a joke, we're like, I guess I'll take one. Like, what is it? I'm not going to use this. And then like the next day, all my buddies, everyone was like walking kind of weird. Like, you were up all night. You were up all night with your fleshlight. It's what? No.
Yeah, like everyone's playing cool. Like, I would never use this. Every guy, you give any guy one of those, hours later they're going at
it. What a crazy invention. Someone was in a board meeting and was like, if we took the model of a flashlight, okay, and just made it much bigger and put in this rubber tube. And someone in the meeting was like, can a guy fuck that rubber tube? And the main guy was like, yeah, of course. This is the whole pitch. This is what, done.
And we'll call it the fleshlight.
Yeah. Dude, the name came first. Someone came up with that name and they were like, this is a multi-million-dollar product. This is brilliant,
Yeah. I wonder if those are made in China.
Oh my God.
Now there's tariffs. The fleshlights are going up.
Yeah. It's a tragedy.
All the perverts protesting on the streets for the new tariffs. Right. Now their flashlights are not affordable anymore. They don't know what to fuck.
I'm
fucking the pillows in my house. I don't know. Like it's like going back 40 years when I was a kid.
Let's make this go full circle. And let me just say, did Midtown Comics used to sell fleshlights? Is that the reason the guy jumped out the window? He stole the new model.
They had the manga fleshlight.
Right, there you go.
It had tentacles coming off of it and everything.
Yeah. These jokes write themselves, folks.
Oh, by the way, there's another thing that I wanted to share about promotion. I was thinking we kind of touched that subject a few months ago, but I was also thinking to do a kind of tour in the States.
Yeah, I think I want to do
again,
it too.
If they don't fuck me up on the customs, right. And that's another problem. But I would love to do a kind of tour and shops, like promoting for like a week to promote the book.
I want to do it too. By the time your book comes out, I'll have stuff. Jim already has stuff. We could do something. I mean, we could do like a little roundabout. We could make videos too, and like Jamie could put them together. Like it could be a Patreon episode or a podcast episode of the tour. Like just us doing our thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I would do it in early 2026 before the campaign starts officially. But once we already have the launch page, so that, as we go around, like everybody who's attending the event gets, if I have the free copies on my book, gets a free copy.
That's great. Yeah, we should do that. We should definitely do that. People, when we talked about it, I got a lot of DMs of people who would love to see us do that. Like people were saying, come to this area, come to that area. So I think it could be dope.
It would be awesome. Yeah. I mean, the big decision is like, where do you go and what area
where do you go?
Hit?
Because
especially if you gotta select an area, you can't just pick and choose whatever shops you like, because you can't just traveling like
the flights would be insane. That would cost so much money. You
can get organized with the shop for flights.
Maybe. But that would also, you'd spend so much time traveling instead of being at stores. It would be less shops.
It'd be terrible for.
So I think we'd have to pick like one big city to start in, like either it be New York or like wherever the big shops are, like New York, San Francisco, LA. I think if you start in those areas, I mean, I know the East Coast, so I know like you could do a few shops in the New York area. Maryland has a really good shop with Third Eye Comics.
Third Eye.
And then you can head down to Charlotte because Heroes is a great shop.
Oh yeah.
And then we could maybe end it in some Atlanta or somewhere. But that would be.
Yeah, it makes me wonder because in almost 20 years of career, I've always done one signing event personally, and it was right at the beginning of my career in Jersey, where Jason used to live.
Right. Yeah.
And it was actually great. Like a lot of people, participated. So I'm wondering, like, if we do that, if people would be there.
I think if you do, I think they would definitely, and I think if you pick good shops like Midtown and Third Eye and Heroes, they'll make a really nice event out of it, and it'll be heavily attended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just choosing the route you want to take.
Yeah. We could start from, gathering in Atlanta and then
work our way up.
And then
totally.
Yeah. Work the way up.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome though.
And then Matteo, you could just fly home from New York, and we could all we could all fly home from New York.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'd
be an idea.
Do it. Yeah, why don't you guys let us know what you think in the comments below?
Yeah, I remember when we talked about doing signing sections at shops, some people suggested specific. I should get back and look at it, because some people suggested some shops. Yeah. But you never know. Like, sometimes a person just suggests it because they go there.
Right, exactly.
It might not be ideal for us. So,
but like the West Coast, I mean, you've got, like, if we did the Northwest Coast, you do have San Francisco, Seattle, and Portland, and there's good shops in those areas too.
Oh yeah,
that's another option. But before we stop, definitely in the comments, in the description, we have the link for Jim's pre-launch page. Go hit the notify me button. I have my pre-launch page. Go hit that. The link for the class that Jake and I are teaching. Go get involved with that. And soon we'll have possibly Matteo's pre-launch page. So we'll get there. And that being said,
also, Inkpulp Fleshlight's coming soon, guys. Leave your comment. Let us know.
Yeah, they're going to be cyan blue.
What?
They're going to be cyan blue, and those art portraits of each of us will be printed on the. So you can get the Matteo, you can get the Jim, you can get the Shawn.
I was going to ask Shawn, in the comments, let us know what shape you want to make love to. You want to?
Yeah. I would say let's do two series. Let's do two series. Okay. One with our faces and one with our buttholes. So you have a stamp of our faces like this, and each one of them, so you can fuck our faces. And the other ones are stamps of our assholes. So you can decide which asshole you wanna fuck.
There you go.
Let me warn you, I have some hemorrhoids, so mine has got the extra tingly thing.
For rib pleasure or something. I don't know.
All right, let's.
We should
end
it here.
Yeah, Matteo, take us out of here. Take us out of here.
Well, and now we're gonna record the Patreon episode. So
that's right.
Please, people, if you want to hear more of this episode, subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to hear more of this.
This is over.
No, I mean, I see it in podcasts, and everybody does that. If you want to hear the rest of the show, just subscribe to my Patreon. You got to keep saying it.
Yeah, and we do have some really good questions we're going to be answering in the Patreon.
Yeah, I think I think we are kind of a little too shy on that area, in that subject, and we fear that we annoy people by keeping saying this shit. Yeah. But I mean, that's our thing, you're
right. You're right. And Jim always doing it. Jim does a good job of saying like, subscribe, and comment.
And go fuck yourself.
Or that. Or both. With the Inkpulp fleshlight. Yes.
And join us in the Discord.
Go fuck us then, not yourself.
All right, Matteo.
Let me
Matteo, hold on real quick. Matteo, can we get a bye like it was coming out of your butthole? Is that a thing? Can request? Oh no!
Ready?
Yeah. my God.
The Inkpulp Podcast.